been about 4 years since Netflix debuted the film The Old Guard. I remember logging into Netflix, seeing that they had this film with Charlize Theron, looked like it had some action. I said, this might be good. And this is one of those movies where they kind of open up and showing all the characters dead, and then they do some pretentious narration, and then I'm just bracing myself because I know that they're just going to show everything leading up to it. And as I mentioned before in my review of Drop, I hate this type of opening in any movie or TV show. Also, it turns out she and her friends are immortal, and I went like, whoa, there was nothing when I clicked on the Netflix thing that told me that that was going to happen. I was absolutely, completely surprised by that. So it makes sense that they would make a sequel to this because they really planted a lot of seeds in the first movie that would logistically lead to a sequel. And I know that because I had to watch the first one again because I kind of forgot about it, really. Anyway, in the first movie, it's revealed that the main character, Theron's character, had this best friend that they kind of were immortal together for a while until that friend was captured in the witch trials and then put in an iron coffin and thrown in the bottom of the sea. So Old Guard 2 starts out showing how this one friend got rescued, and this friend was rescued by another immortal who's played by Uma Thurman. And Uma Thurman is apparently the first immortal, and I really hate when a sequel to a film does this, when they try and introduce this super bad guy that really should have at least come up in conversation in the first one. Think Transformers 2, Revenge of the Fallen. When I watched that film, I said, you're too late in the game to come up with a villain this big right now. To its credit, The Old Guard really makes it really complicated how these immortals just come to be. There's really no explanation. And basically, there's just a time where you're immortal until you're not. One day your wounds just don't heal. It's a really interesting concept, and it's based on some sort of graphic novel that I'd never really heard of up until then. And then they start getting it really complicated in The Old Guard 2. Apparently Charlize Theron's character in the first one was not immortal, and then suddenly she is, and then, I don't know. And while I was watching The Old Guard 2, I just paused to see how much time was left, and I saw there was 20 minutes, and I realized, like, there's no way you're going to resolve everything in here in 20 minutes. So I guess there's going to be an Old Guard 3, which... Now here's some advice, Old Guard. Stop showing off that axe. And I said axe. In other words, an axe that Charlize Theron's always holding. It's not as cool as you think it is. In a way, that kind of describes the whole Old Guard franchise. Ooh! Alright. Yeah, The Old Guard isn't really that bad, and you should give it a try. Maybe it's your cup of tea. Next time I'm going to talk about a franchise that I think is really good, the Madea franchise.